Hello and welcome to At Home with GSM. I think this is the first time it's ever just been a Jaimie solo episode, and Jasper apparently he's coming to say hi. Um, but Liv is busy this week. She's away for her birthday, which is in a couple of weeks, but they've gone away early, so it's just a Jaimie only episode this week. So I thought today we could talk about advertisement. Some of you may know that I studied film and television studies at university, and in that we actually did look at a lot of advertisement, especially when I did my A levels as well in media studies. A lot of it was about advertisement, so I am very interested in it. I understand how it kind of works and things like that. So what we're talking about is invisible advertisement. So the subtle, sneaky, almost unnoticeable marketing that shapes your decisions without ever feeling like an ad. So to start with, we're going to talk about something called the mere exposure effect. This is a psychological phenomenon where the more we see something, the more we like it, whether we realise it or not. So imagine you're watching a TV show, your favourite show, and there's a scene in a shop, like a supermarket, and in the background you can see loads of like red fizzy drink cans. You don't think anything of it, you don't pause the show and say, oh look, that's product placement, but your brain knows that it's there. So the next time you're in that shop, you're more likely to pick up that drink. So say it's Coca-Cola, for example, if it's red, you're more likely to pick that drink up because your brain knows, oh wait, this was in the show that I was watching. So that's the power of invisible ads. They slip under your radar but stay in your memory. And advertisers do this on purpose. So they know the more natural something seems, the more likely you are to resist it, or like the less likely, you are to resist it. So today's advertising landscape is full of those kind of tactics, those sort of things. So think of TikTok, for example. Influencers, creators casually sipping a certain drink, wearing a certain brand, using a certain gadget. So like I see it all the time. You know those TikToks where they're an ad but they don't look like an ad until you read down below and it says #ad and you're like, oh, that's weird. Okay then. But it's not always explicitly said that this is an ad unless they have #ad, which I'm 99% sure creators and things like that have to legally say whether or not it is an ad in their posts to avoid like stuff. You know what I mean? So it's not always declared as sponsorship. Sometimes it's just a paid mention woven into their daily routine. You don't see a buy this message, which specifically says buy this now. You just think, oh yeah, I've seen that. Other people have noticed that. You know. Then in video games, as you know, I love video games. I am a huge, especially things like Hogwarts Legacy, the Dark Picture Anthology games, that sort of thing. So you don't necessarily see those in those types of games, but in other games, so like racing games, driving games with real world billboards, sports games with actual brand logos on their uniforms, so things like FIFA. I know that my brother plays a lot, or used to play a lot of FIFA, and you'd see the brand written on there. Those ads feel like part of the environment of the game that you're playing, but that's because they are. So say if, I don't know, you went to go watch a football game in real life, you would see those brands everywhere. So why not immerse that into a video game as well? And what about city advertising? So this one's a bit more obvious. So things like train stations, airports, even like crossing the road and things like that. You see shapes and colours that look like design elements, but they're actually marketing for things. So yeah, that sort of thing. That's invisible advertisement at its best. So why do these subtle ads work so well? First, they don't trigger your defences. You don't naturally see them and think that is an advertisement. I am not going to buy that product because it's there. traditional commercials feel pushy. So, like, I can't remember, was it last week? I was telling Liv about the Pepto-Bismol ad, which is, if you've got nausea, heartburn, indigestion, it's that song. And it's constantly on in my head at the moment because it's on every single, I will watch a lot of YouTube. I have it on in the background while I'm working, while I'm doing anything, and it's always playing, and it drives me insane. And it's like, I never want to buy Pepto-Bismol ever because of that advert. They're annoying. Pop-ups feel annoying. So say, I don't know, I'm trying to find an example. Say you're playing the game on your, like, just on the Google, I can't believe I said that. But playing a game on Google and then you get adverts pop up constantly, or you see, like, you know, in the olden days you click a dodgy link and then loads of pop-ups come up. I'd say olden days, like 20 years ago. That sort of thing. But if an ad looks natural, if it looks like it belongs in the scene, your brain doesn't treat it like it's an advert. It just, oh, it's there, you know. You see it all the time in TV shows mainly. Like I said before, they call it, it's product placement, but characters drinking like a specific water bottle or eating a specific brand of pizza, that sort of thing. Like, it's subtle advertisements that your brain knows it's advertisements, but you don't know it's advertisement as you're watching it. Secondly, familiarity equals trust. So if you've seen a product around, even without noticing, you're more likely to believe that it's popular, reliable, or even worth trying. And third, people trust people more than companies. I know for me, if I was to see an influencer on TikTok promoting something, I know I've done it multiple times. Like, you might know, this time last year, there was this trend of colouring books and special pens they're not for adults, but a lot of adults were buying them, using them. I know that Christmas I asked my fiance to get me a colouring book and pens because I'd seen influencers promoting them on TikTok, because I was like, that looks really cool. I'm not someone that's ever really been into colouring. I mean, I colour now, but that's because it helps my anxiety a lot. But back then, never really was into colouring or anything like that. I was creative, but in different ways. And he bought them for me because I'd seen on TikTok so many people being like, oh, they're amazing, you need to buy them, you need to buy them. And I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds sick, I'll buy them. You know, it's things like that, like subtle product placement. Even, trying to think now. I can't think of an example, but you know what I mean. So in a world where attention is the most valuable resource, invisible ads are winning because they don't demand attention. They borrow your attention. For 2 seconds you see something on the screen and you're like, yeah, I'm going to remember that. That's them borrowing your attention. So yeah, that's me rambling on for about eight and a half minutes. I hope you all enjoyed this. I know it's quite a short little chat with just me, which is shocking. I don't think that's ever happened before. But I, hope you all enjoyed and can't wait to see you all next week when it should be me and Liv back. I don't quite know what we're going to do in terms of around Christmas, whether we're going to take a couple of weeks off because we both are very busy. That 2-week period around Christmas, I do not have any time off at all from anything. But yeah, we'll see. And next week, I don't know, maybe we'll talk about something else. Probably, knowing us. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye!